Hello, hello. Welcome to She Sells Radio. Oh my goodness. If you are watching the YouTube version of this, the video version of this, it is early morning, my friend, as I record. So the light is the light's a little, I feel like I'm looking a bit like a vampire this morning as I look at this video. But you know what's so beautiful about just really deciding that you're going to own your own schedule is like you get to do things when you want. And this morning it felt really good to get a podcast recording in before breakfast time with the family. So, with that, we are talking today about the law of vibration and how it corresponds to your prosperity, to your abundance, and how to use it to both hit a new point of frequency in your life in terms of prosperity. And also, I want to address today, like what happens when you're kind of stabilizing at a new point as well. So we'll talk about those. I'm super excited, but let's talk about what this is first. So essentially, the law of vibration, it's one of the fundamental laws of our planet. And it's just that everything vibrates, nothing rests. Like whatever you have in your room, whatever you look at around you, if you look at it really, really close under a microscope, you'll see it's a bunch of atoms and particles moving at a very high speed, high rate of vibration, so quickly that you can't see that it's even moving. So this is just science. It's nothing crazy. And how it relates to your prosperity and abundance is that because everything has a frequency, everything has a vibration, the amount of financial flow that you desire in your life has a vibration. The amount that you desire versus the amount that you currently have, if they are different, it's two different vibrations. It's two different speeds of movement, right? And you also have a vibration to you. And so it gets really fun and exciting when we start to study this. And I've just really been on this fun journey over the past few years of studying more quantum physics and working to understand how this works from a scientific standpoint. I'm going to keep it relatively high level today because I want to tie it in specifically with prosperity. But if you're ever curious, like, what is my vibration in this moment? Your emotions will tell you. So, this is what's so powerful about reconnecting with our bodies and going through that journey. And I spent so many years of my life completely disconnected from my body, completely unconscious to anything that I teach now on the podcast and in my work. And I was even talking with this incredible woman this week who I met. She was a podcast listener. I met her through one of my workshops, and we were talking about how she's completely in her head right now. She's totally disconnected from her body. And that was my story for so long. And if that is your story, I get it. That so often happens as trauma response in our lives, whether it's a big trauma, little trauma, it's all trauma, right? And we will disconnect from our bodies for out of safety, right? It doesn't feel safe to be in our bodies. And the beauty of kind of going on the journey of reconnecting with your body and building a beautiful relationship with it is that you get to get in touch with things like, what are my emotions right now? Which is your body's conscious awareness of what vibration you're in. And so, wherever you are on your journey with that, I think just starting the reconnecting process with your body, whatever that looks like, whether it's checking in, like, what do I really feel like eating right now in this moment? Not just what do I always eat for breakfast, or how am I really feeling right now, instead of, oh, I'm fine, right? Like checking in with that and starting to reconnect, your body will always give you signals of where it is and what your vibration is. And so, at a very basic level, the way I would explain it is the higher the emotion, the higher the vibration. So there's all sorts of interesting research on emotional scales and the different energy level of different emotions. There's oh my gosh, I mean, there's so much. I'm reading Power versus Force right now by Dr. David Hawkins, which is a really interesting look at like what energetic levels, certain population groups even are calibrated at, what frequency they're calibrated at, and how that corresponds to emotions, and then kind of what they create in the world. And yeah, the higher, the better the emotion, the higher your vibration. And the higher the rate of vibration too, the faster the speed with which what you want will tend to come to you in your world. And so this is why in my own life, and it's something I get to continuously come back to, because I still, even today, like not today, but even at this point in my life, as I know these things, there can still be the old pattern cropping up of like, push through it. You're not feeling great about something right now, but you got to get it done. I found that as I've grown and evolved myself, and I'm now managing more people, leading more people, it's like this new level that I get to work with, of staying conscious of how I'm feeling in the moment, and remembering, if I'm in a lower energetic state, if I'm in a lower emotional state, that's not really the time to craft an email to the team. That's not really the time to like do my sales outreach, right? It's not again, like people could hear this, and if they weren't conscious to what we were talking about, they could say, oh, that's just an excuse for not showing up. Here's the deal. When it's Abraham Hicks has this great analogy, if you listen to them at all, of like when you don't tap in first to your connection, when you don't tap in first to your to a higher emotion, or to that energetic connection with where you're going, you can run a vacuum cleaner over a whole room and put in a lot of work. But if the vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in, you're not actually going to get anything done. And so it's the same type of thing here. It's like, plug in first. So I focus, and I again, I get to continue coming back to this in new ways in my life. And I want to offer you this perspective as well, of focusing on your state first. What is your emotional, energetic state? And doing whatever you need to do to kind of reconnect with that higher frequency of emotion before taking action. And it's a process. We don't always have that choice, but we usually can, right? So this is the beauty of vibration. And this is how, as I look at my own journey, when I felt so stuck for so long at a certain financial level, and then had a 10x quantum leap in 6 weeks, it was because I had focused on, what is the feeling of where I want to go? What is the vibration of where I want to be? My outer circumstances hadn't shifted. They looked no different. In fact, they looked like I had a much bigger balance on my credit card because I'd made some big investments, and nothing had changed yet, but I was focusing on my state. Then I was focusing on embodying, what is the feeling of abundance at the level that I desire to create in my life. And then from that place, taking the inspired action that the old version of me would not have taken, because it would have felt too stretchy or too big. So that's really how this ties in with prosperity. And if you have a desire to, let's say maybe you have a desire to go from, I don't know, $10,000 months to $50,000 months, right? The first step is to really connect with, well, what is the frequency? What is the vibration of a $50,000 month? How does that feel? What does that feel like in my body? And there's other podcast episodes where I specifically walk you through a visualization to connect with that. So if you want to go and actually experience that in your body and get connected with it, you can go listen to one of those. I don't remember what episode it was, but it's probably within 30 episodes of this one. And connecting with that and feeling, what does that feel like? What is that experience like? And that's how we start to experience a new vibrational set point. And it's not enough to just do it once and go back to the old feeling. To really call it in and to shift it from a momentary experience to, this is my reality, we have to consciously work at continuing to come back and calibrating there, and then staying there more and more and more throughout the day, because your outer world will always just mirror back to you. What is the energy you're putting out? What is the frequency you're putting out? So we have to consistently put out a new vibration, a new frequency, if we want things around us to shift. And so this is why when I do my own inner work, my it's usually very apparent when I set a new level goal for myself of what are the places I get to work on where I'm not yet at that energetic frequency, at that vibration. And that's okay too. If we were there, it would have happened already. I really truly believe like the joy is in the journey. It's fun to be able to create this new version of yourself. It's fun to be able to connect with who is this version of me at this higher level. So it's when we can have enjoyment in the process of going from one level of vibration to another, it gets to be more fun and more pleasurable, and you'll actually get there faster. But you have to experience it in your mind and in your body first, consistently, before it can happen in your outer world. So you will be shown, or if you're conscious to it, you will be aware of ways in which you're not currently a vibrational match for what you want. And that's the work we get to do. So that's really kind of my prayer, my intention when I'm doing my own inner work is like, show me the ways in which I get to become a vibrational match for what I want. And then that's the work. That's the work. The other piece I wanted to speak to is I've had numerous conversations with women recently where they did have their own quantum leap moment, and they went from one level here to another much higher level here, and then and then a couple different things can happen. So there can be, I've spoken with women where they went from here to here and then they dropped back down, or it just felt like a slingshot and it happened so fast that they got to the next level that it almost felt uncomfortable. Give yourself the gift of getting to stabilize at your new frequency. Know that there is a process in place. And that's been my own experience too, of that, I had the quantum leap experience in my life in terms of business and career and finances. And then there was a part of me that got to really catch up with that. It was like I had held myself back for so long that when I finally said yes to it, it was like, boom, here you go. And there was still a part of me that needed to catch up and, number one, believe that that could be my reality consistently, and really step into owning it as my reality. So if you feel like you've had a bit of that moment and it's been either like a wobble, or you went from $10,000 months to $100,000 months and then you felt like you fell back, there's a stabilizing process, and that's okay too. And it gets to be it gets to be a journey for you, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is about consciously, consistently coming back to what is the vibration of my life at this level. And the beautiful thing is, if you've experienced it once, you know. So even if you get there and then you feel like you're sliding back, you know what that was like. So the worst thing you can do is guilt or shame yourself for sliding back. I have done that, and that doesn't produce any good results. The best thing you can do is say, wow, that's really interesting that I've seen that's possible for me. What would it be like to recreate that again, and to continue to think bigger, even beyond that, right? But what would it be like for me to really just allow that to be my norm? And who was I being in that moment when that happened? Generally, you were letting things be easy. You were in flow, you were in alignment, you were following the nudges, you were taking expansive action, but aligned action. And let me play with that again. Let me get back there. So this is the law of vibration and how it relates to your prosperity. And I want to take a moment to invite you, if you have not yet registered for our Sedona retreat. It is now available for registration. I am so excited. If you're watching this or listening to this in real time, we have early bird tickets available through October 31st. You save $500 off your ticket. EliseArcher.com/Sedona. All of the ticket packages that you'll see on the page include your stay at the most gorgeous resort enchantment resort in Sedona. So it includes your stay there for the retreat. It's virtually all inclusive while you're there with us. So what you'll see on there includes pretty darn close to an all-inclusive experience. Once we kick off, you'll cover dinner on your own, 2 nights. So that's really like, it is an experience. It is not just I'm going to come here and be a face and a name. Like, it is a true curated elite luxury VIP experience. So if you want to talk about coming into a new frequency and stabilizing in a new frequency and experiencing that more expansive frequency in your body and connecting with a much higher vision of what's possible for you, let me help you create that consciously over the time that we're together in Sedona. It is incredible what happens in that energy as well. Last year was my first year going there, and it was actually, I hosted the retreat there. That was my first time visiting, and it was incredible how much more quickly things happen in that energy because it is a higher rate of vibration. So if you want to start 2023 off with some really powerful, fast, high vibration energy to call in your goals, to call in your next level, whether that's career, whether that's love, whether that's family, like, you get to do that. And it would be my honor to help facilitate that process for you. So elisearcher.com/Sedona, you can get an early bird ticket now through October 31st. Save a decent amount of money on your ticket. And thank you so much for listening today. I am so grateful to have you in the community. If you have any questions, you can always send me a DM. I'm at Elise Archer on all social, and I will see you on our next episode of She Sells Radio.